Yes, there we go. We are live. There were
And in this
permissions.
piece, yeah, we did it.
We did it. We did it. We did it. We did it. We did it. All righty. All right. And now is the time where we get. Okay, cool. It is going. I'm watching right now. That's the name of it. It's just called Zoom YouTube broadcast. I named it. Whatever. Okay, I'm gonna grab the link for this, and
Cool. Yeah.
how about I drop it right in the chat on Zoom? And we'll see if that makes sense.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
There we go. All right, it's coming along.
yeah. In this piece.
It's a work in progress. We're figuring it out as we go. And then copy link. There we go.
Trying to get the people here.
So I can. There we go. Close that. Oh, now I'm getting an echo. That's fun.
Where's that coming from?
My laptop
Burn it
to the ground.
to the desk. I don't know
To
if
the
you want to
desk.
burn if you want to
Just burn it
burn.
all to the ground.
You're just an agent of chaos.
Whenever I play games and shit, like tabletop games or whatever with friends, I'm always the chaotic player. And it is
Really?
great. Yeah. It's a whole lot of fun.
That makes me value our friendship more.
Why is that you?
I feel like that. I mean, definitely let's not get it twisted. Alex also has
Mm,
his own chaos energy going on.
that's a really good point.
Um in our one story we had me is the chaos, Mo is the order, and Alex is the balance.
Interesting. I feel like I remember that being talked about.
Yeah. And it's just because he's on both sides. Like
Hmm.
you've seen Alex organize a Kickstarter. You've seen the attention to detail, and I am just out there
I'm just out
burning stuff to the ground.
there. Burning laptops to the desks.
Yeah. The common phrase.
That's what people say. I mean, oh man, that's so stupid. I love it. Okay. All right. I'm officially back to what I was doing now that I'm not sharing to 15 different things at the same time.
No, I gotcha.
Okay. I lied fully. I am gonna send it to one more thing.
And that's fair. You have the right to do that. I am also working on that.
Well, it's not like we have a flood of people watching right now, so it's fine.
And if you watch this in the past, just like skip like 5-10 minutes ahead.
Just watch the screen, and if shit starts moving, then you'll know.
Yeah.
Mm. Okay. Sent out, and I am ready to go. Probably won't have as much interaction as like we do on Facebook, but uh this is part in building the process.
For sure. Yeah, no, 100%.
Okay. I'm gonna get to work. This is the page I was on last time. I've been working on the waking door so much. I've been leaving this to the live streams.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah, it'll go by so quick. I'm on 14 out of 19, so I'm not terribly worried. I wish we could have like background music for these streams.
I mean, there's got to be a way to do that, right?
There's got to be, but it's got to be like the royalty free stuff. Because like that'll just get flagged if we play copyright music. That'll be for another day. Okay. All right. Why is my stylus not? Is it working? There we go. Jeez. Always something. I think going a little brighter on these ground spots is definitely the way to go. Laptop's running a little slow tonight.
It's all of that waking door you've been working on. You should probably just stop.
Yeah, I should just stop and never come back to it and then disappoint a lot of people, including myself, especially Sam. You know, that's who I am as a person. I disappoint people. The biggest lie told this year. Oh,
Fast.
man. I'm not wrong.
Lie fast.
There we go. Nope. Is that eraser? Yeah, that's the one I want. Okay. Love the color that I've got on high schooler.
Oh, that's really cool. No, I like that a lot.
Because it actually it carries over to from where Maddie on the previous page, she had colored high schooler as like a really like crazy magenta color because of the like contrast of the portal opening up. So carrying that over to this page, I think is like just the right choice. All right, let's get these beetles going. Maybe. Okay. No, don't do that. There we go, Photoshop. Just catch up with me here. It's stretching its legs. It just woke up, so. Oops.
From a nap, essentially. It's like I was just working on stuff and now we're working on more stuff and it's different stuff.
And I need to catch up. And I just woke up. That was me a little earlier. I took a nap and then there was some groceries delivered to my house. And I was like, oh shit, I gotta go get those. Oh shit, I gotta do all these things before the stream. Oh shit. And then all of a sudden time just disappeared. So I actually had this was a question I saw on YouTube a little while ago, people talking about like top like top one is kind of like the very top one is kind of tough, but like top like 1 to 2 biggest like fictional influences growing up.
Growing up.
Yeah, like specifically like maybe high school age, maybe a little younger. Like elementary to high school age, like what would maybe be your like two biggest, and they could be anything. They could be literally anything.
Do you have a running list?
Yeah, I've got the original trilogy of Star Wars
Okay. Oh my
as a
God.
whole. Because like I can't
Is
just
it?
say one of them. That trilogy as a whole did a lot for me. Um uh Back to the Future, definitely.
Mm.
Which was just like not something I consciously think about, but the more I think about like this sort of thing, the more I realize just how much I watched that trilogy. I guess a lot of trilogies, I think, is maybe a really good way to to tackle it.
Also
Um,
covers a lot of ground.
it does, it really does. Lord of the Rings, Star Wars,
Yeah.
Back to the Future. Those
Oh
are the big
man.
movies, you know.
Mm. Oh, that's a toughie.
Right? I know it's tough to narrow it down. Maybe like top 10, you know. It's tough to narrow it down to just like a couple.
Yeah, without getting too broad, because something I would say is like for me, a whole section is 80s and 90s action movies. Maybe with
I
an
can get behind that.
emphasis on the 90s. Like, but action movies in general, I was exposed to far too early. And
Oh, same.
they made way too much of an impact.
What I mean like Arnold Schwarzenegger comes to mind immediately.
Yeah, Terminator for sure.
Yep.
Um,
Total Recall, maybe.
less so. Less so. I wasn't exposed to
Yeah.
Total Recall way
It's
too
a
much.
violent ass movie.
Yeah, no. I think that one might have been too weird for my dad.
Interesting. All right. I like how that's totally the accurate parameter.
Yeah,
Because like
like
I fully agree with that statement. Like not necessarily with Total Recall, but just in general. Like if it was too weird or if it didn't fall in the like the category of interest, then you were just not exposed to it.
um
That's so funny.
the first Predator is big,
Oh,
super
okay,
big.
yeah. That's legit.
Um and Sylvester Stallone, almost everything he touched. The One of my favorite stories is my dad used to wake me up for like the opening scene of any of his movies. He'd be like, Corey, Rambo's about to start. Wake up.
Why?
Cobra's about to start. Wake up.
That's so random.
So random.
That's so specific.
And then I would get mad, and then I'd watch the first 30 minutes, be like, dope, and then go back to sleep.
That's like, did you? I need context. Had you fallen asleep like on the couch or something? Like
Yes,
what's the
that's what I'm
context
saying.
here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely a nap on the couch. You got me.
Yeah, I mean, same.
And then he would wake me up for like the opening scene, specifically Rambo, because that's like you need to know that
Yeah.
to enjoy the rest of Rambo.
Yeah, well, yeah, it kind of sets everything up. Oh, hey, Jeff. Jeff, Jesus. Jeff's here.
Hey
um
Jeff.
for the extras. I didn't even know he was on the YouTubes.
Sick.
We're just sitting here talking about random stuff.
Random / fundamental stuff.
Yeah, our inspirations.
Yeah, so action movies would be like a whole category I would like put aside. The Lord of the Rings movies, my dad took us to on those Wednesday night midnight releases. So
Oh shoot, really?
yeah, so
Speaking of the YouTubes.
we also got those Thursdays off of school, which was sweet.
That's cool.
Once a year for 3 years, I got a random Thursday off because we had to see Lord of the Rings. So I can't remove that from my influences. So I've got
Oh
80s
yeah.
and 90s action movies, seeing Lord of the Rings in theaters, and I would just say Cartoon Network, from a similarly vague span of time.
I like that. I was gonna ask, but I think that like
Late 90s, early 2000s.
yeah, it's I think that's where it's at. That is incredibly true. Like there is something crazy about that era of Cartoon Network because it was so influenced by Toonami and like just like all of the like Powerpuff Girls and Dexter's Lab and
That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep. And oh man, just some truly awesome stuff in there. Yeah, the Lord of the Rings for sure. I mean that I was thinking back to like seeing that in the theater with the whole family, you know, and it was just like it was definitely that like not we definitely didn't take off school for something like that. Midnight premieres were not something I did until I was in high school. That was something my parents were not really even like I think aware of really.
I think I
But
was in middle school.
yeah. Yeah, because I was in elementary when those came out,
Mm.
and that feels right. Which is so funny because, like I said, like I think I mentioned it like on another stream we did. Like, Return of the King is like aggressively violent.
Yeah.
Like they all are, but that one has some moments, and like I'm just like probably like third grade, like yeah, I love it. Look at all those decapitated heads. That's rough. Like you know,
No, I
crazy.
remember getting teared up over Boromir getting just filled with arrows. And then
Rough.
my dad said, "No, don't worry, it's all right." And for a context I could explore or not explore, I thought he meant Boromir wasn't gonna die.
Yep, that's what that sounds like, honestly.
And then uh my dad was like, his death will be worth it. Oh. Okay.
I mean, like, is it? I
Yes,
guess
for
in what?
him. Oh, for him, it was worth it because like he wasn't going to rise to the occasion until that happened, and then he was faced with two choices, and he was like, "No,
Oh,
I've got to do it."
I see. I see. Okay, I see. I thought you
And
meant
then,
like,
and then later when they like run into Boromir's fam,
yep,
they were able to like defend Boromir.
that's true. I see what you're saying.
No, it's deep, but like again, my dad whispered that to me in the theater.
That's just so misleading. You're like, no, it's fine. It's like, is it though? I mean, is so he's gonna live then? Like, oh no, he's not.
Also narratively, they make sure you know what the deal is because they fill him with like 30 arrows. They like
Yeah.
really get him.
Oh, he's straight dead.
There's not an organ or artery that goes untouched.
Yeah. Yeah, he dead. That's so funny. I find it funny because it's just like totally it's funny when a parent can say something and like totally not mean it, but then it like really imprints on
Yes,
you.
yes. Literally everything a parent says.
And then years later, you're just like, I think about that every day.
Yes.
And they're like, I don't even remember saying that. My dad does that all the time. Be like, yeah, you remember when you said this one thing about this one band or whatever? And he's like, oh, did I say that? I don't. He's like, I don't believe that. I'm like, well, then why did you say it? Like, well, I probably didn't say it. I'm like, yeah, pretty sure you did. We all remember.
Yes.
I remember. Oh man, it's too funny. Yeah, I was thinking, Star Trek: The Next Generation was another one that was a huge influence. Like growing up. I'm gonna have to make those darker. I mean, I don't know if you ever experienced TNG.
Bits and pieces. I've never
Mhm.
done a full watch through. My dad wasn't into like the full watch through, but if it was on, like, yeah, I absorbed it. So it's one of those great magical things that I just know pieces of.
Okay,
And
yeah.
that's almost like better. It's more like I was a crew member that wasn't involved in it, everything, but I would just
But
walk
you
by
like
the room
when
and
it's
like
happening,
overhear things. Yeah.
like, yeah, I think something like that happened. I don't know. That's really, I like that explanation a lot. No, I mean, that was one show that like both of my parents were like every season premiere, season finale, like big. It was a big thing. And I just remember like so many late nights, like trying to stay awake watching, like, obviously by the point I was watching it, it had been long over. But
Mm,
but we had this running gag that my dad could pretty much tell you everything about an episode within the first like moment of the episode. Like it would be like opening credits or whatever, or no, it would do the like the cold open, and it would like, Starfield, Enterprise, Picard narration, and it'd be like Stardate, whatever. This is what's happening, and it'll be like the first sentence, and we'll be like, "All right, Dad, what's it about?" And he's like, this is this one with this one and this one and this one," and he'd be right like 98% of the time. I'm just like, dude, what an encyclopedia of Star Trek like knowledge. He's just like,
I
I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, I feel like I take it so for granted because even shows I watch now habitually, I'm like on my phone, I'm doing other things. Like the
You're
thought of
not
sitting
necessarily
down and
fully
actually being like, let's do this.
fully invested. Well,
Yeah.
if it's a new show, I try not to do that. If it's a show I've seen a million times, I'll probably be like distracted working on something or whatever. But if it's a new show I've never seen, I try to give it my full attention. You know, which is, I don't know, it's kind of sad to say that that's like a rare thing. I don't know.
No, I mean nobody has any attention anymore. That I think that's fair as a blanket statement.
It's incredibly fair. Yeah, it is true. It is true, and it's disappointing, but here we are.
I mean, I think that's the great thing about comic books is that you have to read it. If you're reading a comic book, it's a deliberate decision on you to do.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
that's awesome. I love that about the medium.
it is such a unique medium too. And it's
And 'cause
funny.
it treads that line. It's visual, it's literature, and you gotta make those both work. But if you're opening a comic book, like that's what you're doing.
Yeah,
And it's great because issues or the format of the narrative, it's supposed to be quick. Like you're supposed to be able to read a
just like
issue
cruise through
in
it.
15-20 minutes.
It's true. It's true, and I never read it that quick. I get so lost in the artwork.
Well, okay, one, you're like an insider. Like
Yeah,
you've
that's
like
true.
you're a critic. You're not like a passive intaker.
I'm always like, how did they do this? How did they make this? Look at that. That's what they did here. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it depends on the book. Jeff says comics combine the power of words with the power of pictures, so it's the best strengths of two great media.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's a fantastic way to put it. It's like, because like film, you got music and sound effects and stuff, so you have like yet another layer to it, and it is like a much different experience. But like comics is like, you're thinking about the visuals, but the visuals are carried by what the dialogue is, and so it's all intertwined, but it requires a much different experience, and attention, like you were saying. Like you got to bring it, you got to be here reading it. You can't just be like on your phone, because you're not going to like experience it.
Yeah. No, no, no. And it fills in the gaps of what people don't like about reading books or novels or literature in general. It gives you the visual and only makes you read the dialogue or the internal narration, which is great.
Exactly.
Like, it helps a lot of people with that part get over that part.
Well, and that's like it, I think it'll always be a controversial point of the people who are like, well, if you read only comics, then you're not a true reader. And like, I don't know, like I agree about like the like everyone should at least expose themselves to reading like novels and stuff, but I also we've talked it before about, friends, family of ours are the ability to read books so quickly and just fly through it. Not everybody can do that. So like I think there's a little bit of a I don't know, a balance in there that should be struck.
No, definitely. I mean, um, novels, nonfiction, it's meditative in a lot of ways, because reading that much and transporting yourself that much, it's it's taking you somewhere else because your brain has to do so much work.
Exactly.
I mean, people are born readers. Like, if you're
Mm,
someone who enjoys reading books, that's like a part of who you are.
you can't get away from that.
And I've definitely danced in between both, because I go through cycles of like, I can read nonstop.
Hmm.
And then the flip switches and I'm like, I can't read anymore. I can't. I don't know.
No, yeah, you just kind of like I feel like that's like the same thing when you're listening to music. Like you guys switch it up sometimes. And I feel like though that sort of experience is a similar approach where it's like for me, sometimes I get kind of sick of listening to music over and over and over again. And like it could be
Yes.
new music or
Yep.
whatever. And then that's why I switched to audiobooks or whatever.
Yep.
And
Exactly. Go through the exact same stuff.
it's the way it's like sometimes I want to read comics, and then other times it's like, no, I want to pick up like a nice science fiction novel from the 50s to just
Yep.
really trick up your brain a little bit, not just always be the same exact thing.
Oh, Jeff has some more interesting comments.
Oh, oh, do you mind reading them real quick or?
No, yeah, yeah. So he's saying, you also have to learn how to read them. Growing up with comics is important. My mom doesn't read my work because she can't. Uh, she doesn't know how to decipher a comics page. I'm trying to understand how she can, but I understand how some art forms can just escape people. So interestingly enough, when I was working at a dry cleaners, I was working with this one girl, Tiana, and I gave her uh a graphic novel, volume 1 of 100 Bullets.
Not
And
familiar. 100 Bullets.
100 Bullets, right? Yeah, 100 Bullets.
Hmm.
Uh, and I gave it to her and was like, what do you think? Because she kind of reminded me of the main character. And she was like, Corey, honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. I have no idea how to read this shit. And I had to kind of like give her like a crash course. And what's so interesting about it is when I started lettering with you and you were giving me kind of like the flow of the page, I'm like, oh, that comic probably just had terrible flow. Or flow that was hard for someone new to jump in.
Yeah.
So it's something I've taken very serious that passed along to me, is like, can someone who's never read a comic before follow this? And sometimes I get it and sometimes I don't. And that's just like the way it is. But it is something I've come across where like, oh, right, like you don't actually know. It's something I've definitely taken for granted.
Yeah, I guess I realize I have heard that before of people being like, I don't know how to read a comic. But like I guess when you're so far into it, working with comics, you're just like, how do you it's like reading words on a page. Like, how do you not understand how to read it? I guess it's fair. Well, and plus too, I grew up in a household where comics were abundant, and so like I guess that's yet another thing of like it'd be like someone being like, oh, what are these movies, I've never seen a movie before. It's like that level of disconnect from growing up. I just that's so foreign to me when people don't know how to read a
Yeah,
comic.
yeah. I mean, it's second nature. So he's saying, I kind of tripped up on in one of his comics, comments, he said Grok, Gork, and then he's saying from Heinlein, sorry, stranger in a strange land, which I'm pretty sure is a book my buddy Pat just read. I've only read Starship Troopers from Heinlein. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, I'm following now.
um but yeah. It again, I think on the last stream we talked about how I started reading comic books, and it was at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I don't know how I started to learn, like I don't have any memories and be like, I don't get how this works. Wait, maybe
Mm-mm.
this is how it does. But I had to learn quick, and I did because I was bored on the subway. So
You had a lot of time.
yeah, I figured it out.
Well, that's something funny that you say, is that like I think the major difference between me and my brother was like he was the reader and I was the drawer. I was the illustrator, even at a super young age. He to fill time, he would have a book in his hands and I would have a sketchbook in my hands. And that was like the way we filled our time and interacted with the world. And it's so interesting how like, and I mean he read comics and I read comics too, but like I remember specifically like not thinking like, oh, I'm gonna read comics or books to like fill my time, and like I would only read them like occasionally or something. It was never for I never read books for fun really,
Mm.
and not until I mean probably high school, but he was reading uh Harry Potter books, and there was a series that he used to read that was like a kid's spy series where like a kid is like recruited as like a spy or something because his parents were or whatever. Alex something.
Artemis Fowl.
Nope.
Okay.
No, I do know Artemis Fowl, but it was not that. Now I can't remember. Okay, now I'm reading. Interesting. That's fun. Yeah, imagine if we ate our deceased. That would be a little.
Oh,
Uh,
talking about the comment from Jeff.
yeah. Yep.
Gotcha.
No, I'm just thinking out loud. Sorry. Oh man.
Yeah, like I was like vehemently against reading when I was in school. Then as soon as I got out of school, I read again in cycles, like fairly regularly. I would get into it. Um,
What
and
did you kind of get like? What was your like? What would you get into? Like, what did you start reading?
so a mix of the classics, which uh is a wide term, but
Yeah.
when I was younger, my aunt got me like a republished version of all of these. I don't know if they're like public domain books, but like close. So it was Wizard of Oz, Alice in Wonderland,
Oh
Jungle
yeah.
Book, Hound of the Baskervilles, Treasure Island. I'm trying to remember some of the Frankenstein was in there.
I believe probably Dracula might have been in there.
Um, don't think Dracula was, but it was like, that vibe for sure.
Yeah. If Frankenstein was in there, then I wouldn't hesitate to say
no. I totally understand that toss up, but like it was just like these republished republished versions of these books that I read, and I was determined to go through all of them. And also magical realism. Jorge Borges, which is a great name, but also a great author.
I don't know if I'm familiar enough.
Oh, dude, his shit is crazy. I'll send you some of his books on the slide. Like, if I rip stuff from my bookshelf, I'll be better at explaining this. Yeah, but like 100 Years of Solitude, which I believe is the name of the book. But like Central American, South American authors that were just like having a bunch of fun, doing a bunch of weird stuff. And history books. I'll read me a history book.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm a sucker for that. I like weird. I like reading a lot of weird things. Just to read them.
Yeah. Just to experience them.
Yeah. Things that I was interested in. Like I definitely read some what's it called? Like ancient history textbooks, which are super dry. They're not a fun read. But
no.
Through the art of highlighting and underlining, you can kind of piece together the narrative you're there for.
That's fair. That's cool. No, I love that. I love the sheer diversity that you're kind of like listing off here.
See, Jeff's got me. Gabriel Garcia Marquez is one of the guys I was talking about for sure. It was actually, unfortunately, when he passed that I learned about the genre that I enjoyed reading already. You're like, he was the father of magical realism. And then once I heard the description of that, I was like, oh, that's that thing I really like.
That figures.
I'm sorry you had to die for me to learn that.
Yeah, that's, man, that feels correct.
Yeah. Jeff also says, I loved reading, but my English teachers in high school had some pretty boring reading lists. I had to read lots of Faulkner while my friends in other schools got to read Dune. Yeah, no, oh my God. Wow. Oh my God. If I learned that, I'd be like, I am burning this place to the ground. And I've talked about this before with Josh, but Dune was always like the cover of a book I've wanted to read. Like I've seen it. Like every person who I admired had Dune on their shelves, and I would see them like one day. And then once I read it, I was like, here it is. Here's the day.
I have arrived.
This is a great book.
You know, funny enough, ignoring all of the baggage that comes with the title and the author, Battlefield Earth was one that my dad was like thoroughly obsessed with, which was it L. Ron Hubbard?
Yeah.
And I mean, like I said, there's a lot of baggage with him, but completely ignoring that. I mean, my dad had no interest in that stuff, that aspect of it. He just enjoyed the story. And he just like, I just remember like going to trips to like the hardware store or whatever growing up, because of course we're doing some sort of project, and he's just like telling me all about the narrative for it. And it's crazy to think back to that. And I've never sat down to read it, because like I feel like I've experienced enough of it through his like storytelling. Almost like there's something fun there where like if I go to read it, I wonder if I would kind of be disappointed to some degree.
Disappointed, know all the baggage behind it, and know also that the movie adaptation is in the list of one of the worst movies ever made. Yeah. That's so that magic memory of like him relaying this story to you and like cherishing that That might be it, man.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, the extras, magic realist inspired for sure. That's very accurate. Jeff, are you saying you wouldn't recommend Battlefield Earth to anyone over the age of 14? That's really funny. And I think that's the funny thing about it is that I was, these memories I have of him explaining was from me being, 8 to 12. And so I think that is that like kind of that magical age of like you're not a little kid, but you're also not quite a teenager yet. So you haven't gone off and explored your own stuff. Yeah, yeah. And so that makes sense from my experience, I would say. Oh no, I mean I would say it's a prejudice by any means. It's a decent, I mean, from what I understand of I mean the literal what father of Scientology, isn't that, or am I thinking of?
No, you got it, bro.
No, that is right. Okay.
No, you got it.
So yeah, like
I don't know if at the time Battlefield Earth came out as a book, if it was out, or if it was like established or anything. Like, I don't know the history of that.
I choose not to look into
Yeah,
it.
no, it's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, no, the extras definitely recommend for anyone. Yeah, that's what I thought you meant. I was just the Jeff in the comments. I was just making. I figured. Speaking, I'll do a little plug real quick though. The extras book 3 is printed and what I believe coming out for availability probably what next month. I mean I mean you could go check it out on the extras webcomic website. They're always updating every week. But if you're like me and you like the physical copy of it, the 3rd book is coming out, which is terribly exciting.
That's awesome.
And we did a little astronaut high schooler crossover, which was fun. Just more to poke fun at the concept rather than anything to do with the narrative. But I think it was really fun, and it was really fun drawing one of the characters. There's Shelby, and yeah, it's just really cool. Oh, it is out now. Okay, no, let me correct myself here. It is the 3rd issue is now available. 3rd book. It is in the Ko-fi shop. I need to use I need to use mine. I need to go back to using mine. I was using mine for the Ko-fi. I think it's pronounced coffee, but I just say Ko-fi for people to phonetically understand what I'm saying. But I was using that for Henry Graves. I was using that to make some money, raising some money to help Henry Graves a bit. And that's cool that you're using that. I should jump back on there, and because I know that they've really improved it. Corey, I don't know if you remember that one at all. That website.
No. Oh, yeah.
Kind of.
Actually, yes. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how to say it. It's Kofi, because it's like a picture. The idea is like buy me a cup of coffee, but like doesn't look like it's pronounced coffee whatsoever.
No, I totally get phonetically saying it so people will understand it.
Mm-hmm.
If you
It's
say
a lot easier.
Ko-fi, there's a decent chance they're going to spell it the way it's spelled. If you say
Exactly.
coffee, they're not going to.
They're going to be like, all right, COFF. And it's like, no, wait, hold on. I like the idea of doing like the jump up of each beetle being like their corresponding color.
No, I saw you doing that. I did that too.
Cool. Maybe I'm going to brighten them up a little bit. Oh yeah, it's kind of like it's like a booster that's shooting up. I think if I lighten up some of the highlighting on them. There we go. I think instead of, I was going to use a red highlight, but I think using their color highlight is
Good.
plenty.
No, that looks sharp.
I don't like how high schoolers blending in though. There we go. My rule of thumb is I mean, you see me hopping around a lot, and you've seen me render a little bit before, but essentially, like, as I go through, I try not to make it perfect. I go until I like lose interest in the shot, I guess you could say, like until it stops speaking to me, and then I move on. And then when I like mess with the next panel and then I look back, it's like first impression can tell me right away what I'm missing or what I don't like about it. And that's really like that sort of like train of thought, I think, is that like a approach to being creative has helped a lot, where it's like you don't get hung up on details, you don't get, you're not spending an hour and a half trying to fix stuff. It's like you just keep moving forward, and you'll notice what bothers you. It's kind of like, honestly, it's the best analogy I have is like when you try to think about something too hard, you have a harder time thinking of it. But if you just like go about your day, it'll just kind of hit you.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
That
I
sort
like
of thing.
that a
It's like,
lot. Yeah.
yeah, you kind of like loosen your mind up and just I just keep moving on to the next panel. And so then when it's like I get fresh eyes on it, essentially. I get fresh eyes on the panel and I see like, oh, maybe that could be bluer, or I could add a little highlight here, or it's I think that's one thing I always tell people, like, who are like younger people, especially who are learning, is like, if you're if things aren't, if your artwork's not coming together the way you want it to, it's like maybe you're spending way too much time on those details and not letting yourself just take a step back and just observe it and let your brain take a break.
No, that's a really smart point. Like, especially working on any aspect of comics, whether it's writing or laying out or
Yeah,
lettering or coloring, you can get too involved, work too long on it, get too microscopic with your decisions, and just
that's
stepping away and taking a moment to look at it is all it takes.
I like that, microscopic. That's perfect. Like, 'cause that's what it is. Is it's like working digitally. If I zoom way in and I'm like, oh, that little spot's yellow right there. That's wrong. I should fix that. But then if I zoom out, I'm like, oh, I don't think I even realized that I see it. And then if you realize that the comic page itself is going to be like viewed from about this distance, I'm like, oh, I forgot where it's at. So those microscopic problems that you're running into, are they really a big problem, or are they just a little tiny microscopic problem?
And is that something that needs to be dealt with now? Do you need to be worried about those now, or can you do what you need to do and then at the end of that stage go back with that fine tooth comb
Yeah,
and suss them all up?
because there will be some of those types of things, definitely, that need to be addressed. And then other things, it's like that little spot down there, I'm not gonna fill that in. I'm not worried about it. It looks fine. But like, what I'm doing right now is I'm adding, a little bit of little fine line lighting on it just to give it a little bit more detail. Just to pop it off the page a bit more. So it's like picking your battles. I think that's I I was in that wedding yesterday, and the priest, he's a really cool guy. He was actually a music major, who, the bride and groom were music majors in high school, and he talked about how he was too, and he talks about the relationship of like marriage and love and everything about that, and like the similarities between that and like performance and music and stuff. And when you're performing music, like, you got to know your fundamentals. You got to know when not to play and when to play, and when, letting other people have the room, and respecting that, and not always being the center of attention. And I liked that a lot. And I'm just sitting there going like, man, that just applies to so many aspects in life. Like those are the things that I learned, growing up in art, is like the fundamentals, and knowing like when to let things speak and when to let things fall to the background. And It's just cool. It's cool how certain things can really apply to so many aspects of life. It's a pretty cool analogy.
And while you were there sweating, standing, shaking, I'm sure you were like, yeah, preach.
Yeah, man, preach. I'm dying and sweating. I had to lean over and grab a microphone and then like hand it up the line of groomsmen. And when I leaned over to grab the microphone, I saw 4 drops of sweat hit the ground in front of me. I was like, Jesus Christ, I am sweating.
Splat. And
It was ridiculous,
at
man.
least a handful of other people did too. So you're not alone.
Oh yeah, no, I was not alone in experiencing that. Holy shit. Holy. Uh, yeah, no, I like at one point in the middle of the ceremony, I just felt one bead just kind of go like this and just like go down my entire face, and I was like, just have to live with this. I'm not gonna just be like going like this the whole time. Oh man, it was rough, but that was like he had some really cool like analogies and stuff, so that was pretty cool.
No, it's always like relieving when someone makes a good speech you can vibe with at a wedding, because you're like, oh, thank God, there's a reason I'm here.
Yeah, you could really like put your focus into it. It's so funny. It's very accurate.
Oh man, this is looking so sharp, so cool.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm very pleased with how this book is coming along. Get a little highlight behind high schooler. I don't love where the ground color is. Bit of a tangent going on here. I am so glad that I'm like the colorist and I control all aspects of the art, because I would be so frustrated to like get a book back that I like just inked, and I just see all these like little areas that were wrong, like, or
Yeah,
that I would perceive as wrong.
color flattingness, I was definitely a little confused. Because of that bottom line of the building that you just fixed.
Yeah, I'm gonna toss another line over here. It's this panel is, I'm not super happy with this panel, but I just kind of decided to move on from it when I was working on it. I don't like how small high schooler is, but like I don't know if I could, I don't know if I could do one of these, because like the perspective wouldn't feel right to me.
No, I kind of like, I definitely like this size.
You like the full body?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna toy around for a moment.
Hmm.
Because like I think high schooler's a little small in the shot.
Cool. I get that for sure.
And thanks, Jeff. I'm glad you like it. I always appreciate your support of the series. Yeah, I'm gonna have this guy up here, and then I immediately realized that they're doing a very like Last Supper pose right here, and I immediately think of the comedian Eddie Izzard.
Okay.
They make such a great joke about how like they're like, all right, everybody, and this is Jesus, of course. All right, everybody, we're gonna do a painting. Leonardo, you ready? Okay, we're gonna like he's talking to Da Vinci, like he's gonna do a painting for us real quick, and then like, Jesus, why are you doing big arms? And he's like, I don't know, I just thought I'd do big arms. I was like, well, I want to do big arms. I was like, no, we can't all do big arms. We'll look like a squadron of Spitfires over here. Just like, I'll do big arms, and you guys all look really interested. And I'm like, that is the dumbest, funniest joke ever. And there's so many layers of historical like hilarity that comes with that. Oh man.
No, that's a good bit.
It's a great bit. Just like Jesus talking to Da Vinci, who's painting them and referencing like World War II British Spitfires. Like, there's a lot to unpack there.
And that's the point.
Great. Now, Jeff, you say that high schooler being smaller does feel more vulnerable, which is a good point. Because this is a moment where the robots appear, it's going to be this huge fight, and then the robots literally like scan them and go, you're inferior, you're not what we're looking for, and just move on. And
Yeah,
like, that's never what anyone that has ever done to high schooler before.
which is why I kind of liked them being smaller, but I also understand composition wise what you're saying.
Yeah, like it, but composition wise also could be argued that more space around high schooler. Oh, maybe it's the background. Okay, it's kind of like the joke that we pulled earlier on, like here.
Mm,
Like the fact that like it is revealed that Jeremy might actually be in the, printer that's the printing shop that is in orbit. He might have been in there, and there's that realization like, oh crap, someone actually might be in there. That's my bad. And they feel a little small here. And so there's that joke. So I wonder if we could do kind of something similar, but I think the background is detracting from that, like just visually. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna remove the buildings for a moment here and just see what we can see how we feel about it.
okay.
I love the insurity in your voice. I love it so
No,
much. Like, all
uh,
right, if you want to, that's fine.
less insurity was like, oh shit, okay, that's what he's going with. Like,
Mm-hmm.
get those buildings out of here.
I see what you're saying. Oh, that's funny. Window reflections. Yeah, because like I said, I wasn't really happy with this panel when I was inking it, but I just kind of like said, all right, I'll move on. And now I'm here again, and I'm still feeling like, yeah, my hunch, my initial feeling does feel, or I connect with that feeling.
It's not gone.
Words are hard. No, it's not. It's definitely lingering, which tells me like, yeah, we need to do something about it. Hmm. This That reminds me of like there's a few Looney Tunes episodes with Daffy, and he's just in like white space, and he's like fighting with the illustrator. I don't know, or the animator. I don't know if you remember those episodes at all.
Yeah, for sure. No,
That's what that reminds me
absolutely.
of. Hmm. There is dialogue here. I'm gonna pull up the script here. All right, I got the script right here. This is page 14. Analyzing insignificant signature is the previous statement, and then high schooler says rude in the little shot, and then the Beatles begin to move away and says, "That's it. Are you even gonna fight me?"
Oh, that's funny to have in that like blank space.
Just like in an empty space, like that's it. Like, really? Hmm. I do feel like there's a bit more we could do to it here. Like What I did in issue one was like there was a few times where like characters were like grayed out a little, like all the color had drained from them. But that works a lot better in like these close-up shots. So I feel like I would use that better like over here. But I like where that's at. So maybe I'll move on from that idea. Hmm.
Just so excited to see what you do.
I know, right? The anticipation, it's all on my shoulders. It's crazy.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're so unused to that this is like a new feeling.
Yeah, totally. Never been under that spotlight before. I like that. Jeff says, is there any smoke or dust from destroyed buildings obscure the background? Shadowy buildings behind the yeah, I like that. Like maybe it's the implication of buildings rather than actual buildings. I think that's a good approach. Just because like I don't know if the bear background is really resonating with me. Oh, that's cool. See
Yeah,
like
that is cool.
the dimensions of the buildings. Here, I'm gonna shape in the buildings a little just to give me some like point of reference. And then yeah, it's definitely the blocking of the buildings, the actual like shapes of them. I don't think we're like I think it was very like, I'll just throw something here, but it didn't really like speak very well to the composition. And something like this might be a really good approach. Because the portal did just like close. And so maybe it is like maybe there's like a shockwave or something. Like just the implication of a building. So if I bring up the road color, and then if I leave these guys, super faded.
Looking pretty cool.
Cool. Thank you. I think if I just kind of use the ground color a little bit here. Trust the process. Hmm.
I am hopping off in a few seconds.
Oh, okay. Calling it good tonight.
Yeah.
No worries there, man. We got started a little late, so
No, yeah, that wasn't an issue. I mean, just, work coming up, but this is awesome. Working on this is awesome. I can't wait to do a couple more of these during the campaign.
hell yeah. I appreciate you hopping on with me, joining, chatting for a little bit.
No, this is great to be a part of. I always love seeing the process. I love sharing the process with other people. We shouldn't be the only ones that get to enjoy this. But no, Astronaut High Schooler 1 through 2 on Kickstarter, y'all.
Heck yeah, go back, right?
The most Midwestern way to say that. Go back, right?
Like, do it. Isn't that great?
But also, if you don't, we fully respect your decision not to. That's okay too, I guess.
That is very accurate.
But no, this is awesome. It's a lot of fun. Also, like, what's great about this comic in general is, yes, we're putting out an issue 2, but issue 2 is issue 1 essentially, like narratively.
Yeah, it's the beginning of the narrative plot, if you will.
The characters are important for the rest of the arc, whereas issue 1 is really just telling you what it is that you're getting involved in.
Proof of concept for sure.
And issue 2 is where all of those things get involved, and this is the story. So I couldn't be happier that it's up on Kickstarter right now. It's really awesome that people have a chance to be a part of this story.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
You're not keeping it to yourself anymore.
Nope, it's officially out of my hands. Jeff says, no being Midwest nice, spend your damn money. So I agree. Spend your damn money.
We might change the headline on the Kickstarter now. Astronaut High Schooler 1 through 2, spend your damn money.
There you go. I expect you to go edit that right now.
Changing it.
Changing it right now. Oh man. All right, well, Corey, I appreciate coming on, and I'm gonna probably hang out for a little bit longer.
Yeah, do it up, man. I can't wait to see how this panel specifically turns out, but how the page turns out, and how the book turns out, and how the campaign turns out, and how our lives turn out.
There's a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, it's kind of like a fractal. The more you zoom in, the more there is.
Exactly. A universe within a universe.
But yeah, good night, Josh. We'll talk soon. Thanks, Jeff, for tuning in. Hope you watch the rest of it, and see y'all when I see y'all.
See y'all when I see y'all. I like that. Bye. Yeah, we forgot. We didn't really do any introductions, but Corey is one of the Lucky 33 members. He is co-writer on the New Luminaries. He's edited a whole bunch of stuff, worked with me on lettering. He's worked on color flatting for a lot of stuff. He did the color flatting help with this book. He's done quite a bit. It's awesome. So, and he's got his own series, Thieves in the Nest. That's a Lucky 33 production. That's a web comic actually, following in the extras footsteps a little bit here. Um, it's our first ever like big webcomic series, and that'll be coming out more than likely toward the end of the year, if not in the new year. We have a lot planned. We wanted to get started on it, releasing it earlier, but we realized we wanted to spend a bit more time preparing it. But that will be out in a little bit. That's a very a fun fantasy. It's like a post-apocalyptic, but in a very interesting, twisted kind of way, and an interesting twist on it. Um, the idea that humanity has fled to either the sky or the ground. I think underground maybe. But essentially, there was a sort of wind apocalypse that happened where humans are now on these giant floating ship like arcs essentially, and it's very cool. It's very interesting. I'm very excited to really get working on it. Go build up a buffer for the web. Oh, excuse me. I have been fighting a cough for the past like 2 weeks. It is just not letting go. Probably not getting enough rest. It's probably not helping. It'll go away one day and then it'll come back the next. It's damn cold, hot, cold weather. Every year. Every year this time of year, I always get a little sick. My birthday is right before Halloween, and I swear it's every year I'm either a little sick or very sick on my birthday. Just because the damn weather change just hits me hard. Oh yeah, this was the right move. This was definitely the right move. I'm gonna do a little bit more with this, but like I overall I really like the approach. Just hide that background a little bit and gives us space. I mean, there's gonna be there's that dialogue box here, this word bubble here, so that will help a lot. That's what I feel like. I mean, that's what my voice. It's like every other day I just feel like I'm talking like this. It's just awful. No idea gonna work. Nah. I'm gonna have to draw more than one window at that point, and I just think it'll look too busy again. Like I said, once the word bubble goes here, though, like that's it. No one's even gonna realize this is happening. It's like, you know, pretty much gonna go right here. So, but I like the idea of keeping high schoolers small like that. I think that was a very good call. Okay, definitely need a bit of a separator here. Now let's just go ahead and word bubbles hide many sins. That is so true. It is unbelievably true. It's another thing I do like about being able to do, like, I mean, some of my books I do have a letterer, uh, but I mean I fully trust them to be able to hide that kind of stuff sometimes. But being my own letter at times, I can remember I'm gonna cover most of this up. It's fine. I don't have to do too much work here. Yeah, there we go. Just cut that out a little bit. All right, now I need to give a little dimension to the smoke. It's looking a little flat here. Too Nope. That's immediately going to do the same problem I was trying to avoid. Got to keep high schooler pretty much highlighted. Nothing to distract behind them. All right, Photoshop, come on. There we go. Sometimes just doesn't want to listen. Let's give them a lot better dimension. Yeah, give a little shadowiness to the buildings. I like that. And maybe this building back here. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's the way to do it. I dig it. Got these guys here. Oh, that's a little too much. It is a better panel. I gotta zoom out. I gotta like absorb this whole panel, this whole page. Yeah, that panel looks a heck of a lot better. It was just way too busy in the background. There's enough going on this page already. Maybe we don't need to go to in the foreground. Maybe bringing them forward like that is a good call to just like show that they're turning away from high schooler. Oh, maybe I could do like a subtle shadow work. I think that could work. Just like under the wings, under the body a little. Give them dimension, but don't shadow them up too much. The brightness of the Beatles just feels like we got to really bring attention to it. So definitely don't want to hide away from that. Yeah, I'm excited. We are going to be doing for the Kickstarter, we're going to be doing a stretch goal. Hopefully we hit our goal initially. But it's going to be a astronaut high schooler short comic by me and my co-writer, co-creator, more or less, Madeline. She's helping me create short comic. Essentially, the idea of astronaut high schoolers' homecoming dance at Earth City High School, and there's gonna be a lot of fun hijinks that kind of go with that. Um, I'm really excited to start diving more into the like high school aspects of astronaut high schooler. It's one thing that like I think I get lost a little too much in the like fighting monsters and stuff, and got to remember that they are a high schooler, they are a high school student. We got to see a little bit of school life happening, and I think doing like a little short comic, a short adventure, one off kind of thing would be a lot of fun to show that essentially. Because once like this kind of kicks off, this event here with the Beatles really kicks off a multi-issue plot, and that's going to really take up a lot of our narrative time. And so when one of the issues coming up, we're going to get like some time to do more fun school and personal life related stuff, but I want to do it sooner than that. So that's the idea of doing a short comic coming up. And if we don't hit the stretch goal, then we'll have to figure out a way to produce it. It'll just help pay for the production of it. Obviously, it's kind of the whole point of the Kickstarter. But there we go. Clean that up a bit. Make that a little bit brighter. And one last touch, kind of like what I did with the eyes up top here. I think I'm going to glow the eyes just a little bit. The initial shot, I wanted the eyes to glow quite a bit, but here they don't need to as much. Okay, chill it out a little bit. Nope. I think my wife is home because my dog is not a happy camper. What's up, bud? All right, I think I'm gonna call it here. He's gonna just keep barking. I'm just gonna add this. There we go. Come here, bud. It's okay. All right. Well, Jeff, this was great. Oh, sorry, I didn't see your comments here. That'd be great. I would love the idea of doing minis. It's great. It's nice to, I don't know, it's like a good way to stretch your legs, have fun with the characters, but not have anything that's too like, requires too much. So alrighty. Well, Jeff, this was great having you on here. I'm really glad that we were able to I didn't expect you to hop on, so it was just really cool to see you in the comments. So appreciate it. And I'll be doing more live streams during the